right, I'm going to show you some of these tools that I'm going to use. This is a putty knife. It's very flexible. It is not a scraper. There's a big difference. You want something real thin that's going to get into that stop, that wooden stop. You want to just tap it in very gently. And you can see the rope here. It didn't actually break, but the knot came undone when I did this 4 years ago. And so one side is heavier than the other, and so it won't stay up because there's no weight on the right side that's able to counterweight and keep it up. So I'm going to carefully take my my beautiful shade off here and just put it off to the side. If I did this the right way, I would probably have some blankets or bath towels on top of the radiator, just because you don't want to put stuff down on there. But it's okay for this purpose. So I'm going to tap it in and rock it back and forth. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of loosening up the nails a little bit. Now that is called a window stop, and what that is, it's not a glass stop. Glass stops hold a little piece of pane of glass in place. This is a window stop. It holds the sash in, and it does not have to be super duper tight when a day like this where it's real humid. All the wood is going to expand and take up moisture, and then it'll become more difficult. It'll be easy in the wintertime when it's bone dry, but right now they're kind of waterlogged in this sort of way. Even though it doesn't seem like it, they do expand, which is a good thing for window design because that will also help keep things airtight and allow it to hold up against another piece and keep the wind out in the wintertime and so forth. So I'm going to go down at the bottom here is the best place to really start. I've got the scraper there, and then I've got this pry bar, and when I get the pry bar in, I'm going to rock it back and forth a little bit, and to be careful not to scratch any of the wood. I'm being very, very careful with this particular episode because I've got most of the woodwork is in perfect shape, and I'm not going in and taking apart windows that are going to be completely stripped. So once I get that vertical piece off on the right, then that top piece pries off real easy because I loosened it up earlier with the pry bar. So you don't need really large tools for something like this. This is not crown molding or baseboard, but so now you can see I'm going to lift the window up and I'm going to rock it out on the right, and then it'll just come loose on the left. And now I'm going to find the knot that's actually in the channel of the side of the window. Gently put it back in place. You don't want to just let it snap. It'll fly, the weight will come down, and the knot could go through the pulley. Then you have a second one that you have to redo. So this is the one that came loose, and you can see it's just a double knot that I tied in there, and it goes into that little hole in the groove, and there's a channel for the rope, and it's all hidden. It's a beautiful design. So I just put that window off to the side. There's a little kick panel here now, and the kick panel is going to be sometimes you'll find them screwed in place to keep them in place. Sometimes I've actually used wood glue to hold it in place. They're not going to pop out once that stop is back in. That's a 5-pound iron weight, just regular old pig iron. Doesn't have to be pretty. And there should be 4 of those in each jamb for the windows themselves, to the left, to the right, and for the top and the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is take that rope, and I'm just going to slide it, the part I'm going to tie around the weight, I'm going to slide that back into the top of the pulley. And if there's not too much junk back there or whatever, I can just feed it in, and then you look to the bottom, and then you'll see it start to appear, and that's good. It just fell freely. Sometimes it'll give you a little trouble. You have to be creative, but this time it worked out pretty good. So that's not going to come down because there's, of course, the knot on the top of the rope. So now what I'm going to do is put that through there, and I have to make sure that I'm going to do it right. This time you obviously want to do a double. I always swear I'm going to take a tiny little nail and just send it through there so that it can't come loose, but whatever. So this first knot that I'm going to tie, I'm going to test it. I'm going to pull real hard. I'm not going to pull the weight. I'm not going to force that knot to come down the pulley. So I'm actually going to hold the top of the rope, and that will, kind of make sure that I can pull the weight down, and hopefully I've got it right this time. So I think I'm going to have to redo this because I could feel it slipping. You don't want to put too much, pull it up too much slack, because it would be easier to tie the knot that way. Ideally, you want to tie the knot and then cut it, but it's already cut, so I'm not going to put a new rope through there because that's in perfect shape. So yeah, I'm just gonna slide it down there, pull it again, just make sure that the knot's not gonna come undone, and you pull it. Now you can really see there. So I sort of forced it with my right. That's good. I'm just gonna drop it back in place and then put the kick panel back in. Get the right side out. That's Douglas fir. The windows themselves and the kick panel are Douglas fir. Everything else around it you can see is oak on that jamb, and all that trim is just really a great material. It's going to be a lot harder. It's decorative. Fir is not considered really to be decorative, although I think it has a nice grain. But it's a very soft wood. However, it is also very rot resistant. It's very moisture resistant. There's a lot of turpentine in there, or sap, or tannin, or whatever you want to call it. Bugs don't really like fir. Moisture and sun can kind of beat fir up a little bit, and it'll take a pounding over the years. Assuming that you don't coat it properly, you at least do have some kind of advantage. So a lot of times with fir, you're going to see something that may be kind of ugly. However, in almost every case, unless it's completely rotted out, there's no reason it can't be taken out, sanded down, brought back to beautiful millwork brightness. So I'm just going to get that guy in there. Probably later on, I'm just going to tap it, put some nails in there some other time. But you can see when I did my windows, I did not do it 100%. I did not loosen the top sashes so that they flow freely. That's a great advantage to have. Sometimes you just want to, like in the shower, you just want to drop the sash down only, because then all that moisture can escape through the top. So you would open them either from the top or the bottom, depending on what the climate circumstance. Maybe you want to get cooking odors out, then you would open it from the top, or smoke, cigar smoking and all that. So other odors. But so anyway, what I'm doing here is that little kick panel wasn't fitting all that great, so I'm just going to take the sharp end of one of my pry bars and just notch out a little bit of wood. But I'm still getting used to the camera on my forehead, so I can't really see. You can't really see in the screen what I'm doing. Here you can. So I'm just taking out itty little bitty pieces here, and now I know that will fit and go flush. I guess I missed that the first time around. I was not completely experienced the first time I did this. I think I did a pretty good job, all things considered, for a newbie. But so now that kick panel's in place, my window's ready to go back in. I'm just gonna slide it on the left side where that stop is, and then just kind of put that in place. First, I'm gonna pull that down. You gotta be careful. That little knot will slip out. There's a lot of 5 pounds of force and resistance. But so before you put it in place, you just want to make sure that the knot is in its hole, and the rope is going up through that inner channel, again, where it's going to slide freely. And it's kind of really hard to see sometimes when the camera wants to auto adjust to the brightness of the outside. It makes the important stuff kind of dark. That's your auto exposure in the camera. I have no control over that. So anyway, so now it goes up and down. It's free. Little pinky should send it back down, and look at that. Beautiful action, perfectly counterbalanced. So now I'm going to take a look at the stops that I had taken out earlier. And now this is a new video I'm starting here. And I went and got my beautiful vice grips. These are the Buffalo Head vice grips. I love these things because you see how big that part of that half of that head is. So you can rock the nail back out, and you always take nails out from the direction that they went in. So you take it out from the back side, because if you take it out from the important side, by taking it out, you're going to splinter it, and it's really going to be bad. You want nice clean holes, so you always take it out. It's a one-way street when you put nails in and then take them out. Now this is also, again, before I really knew what I was doing, I decided it would be a great idea to use a nail gun. These are itty bitty little wire brads. I think they're pure junk. I'm never going to use a nail gun again on anything, really. Every time I think I'm going to try some modern, newfangled contraption, I come to realize that these people really did know what they were doing. 90 years ago when they built this house, it was just nails and nail sets, and held it in place. Even now, some of these stops, without doing anything, are starting to pop, and it's just a really, I don't know. I think nail guns are bad. It's easy, quick way to do it, and no. So I'm going to. You can see that where I took it out. This is what I was talking about. You'll see some damage on that side. It's not the visible sides. That's okay. However, it did sort of buckle up some of the wood. So after I take these things out, the ones that don't snap in half on me because they're weak and inferior, I'm gonna grab the quickest thing available to me, and then I'm just gonna take a nail set and kind of scrape some of that damaged wood out. This will just make sure it lies flat and flush against the jamb when I put it back in place. So I cut out some of this because I didn't want to dwell on it for too long, but so I can kind of feel that it's raised out a little bit, and so I'm going to have to, sometimes you can just use your fingernail to push it back in, but sometimes you can take sandpaper. That's another way to do it, but I just kind of lazy. I didn't want to walk to the back of the house to get a piece of sandpaper to do that. As long as it's flush, as long as see how I'm getting the raised parts out, just scraping it out, that's fine. So this is actually not an original window stop. I decided to get new wood, Owl Lumber. There's one in Lombard. I love it. It's on St. Charles Road, and their quality of oak is just absolutely great. I mean, for new wood, you're not really ever going to find the old growth oak. So here's what I'm going to do. Before I put those in, I'm putting a really small drill bit in, and tiny. You always want it to be definitely smaller than the nail, way smaller than the nail. The only reason I'm going to pre-drill a pilot hole when I put this in place is so that I don't split the wood. Oak is a very grainy wood. It's an open grain. If you put a nail straight in it, it's such a hard wood that, in other words, it's not soft, and so you can easily split it, and then you have this big crack, and you have bigger problems than you had before. So first I'm going to do is open it up and down freely. Another mistake I made in the years ago was I put the stops up against it too close, and then with the weather humidity expansion, it would actually make it very difficult. In this weather, it's very difficult to open them because I put them in too tight. There's some of them I don't even want to open because they're so tight. Other ones are perfect, just up and down, real free. It's not important that they're tight because the weatherproofing is not going to happen by the tightness of the window stop against the actual sash itself. It's going to occur when you tighten that lock on top, and you're going to marry those two pieces together. It just makes the whole thing airproof. I can put a candle up there in the wintertime, and there is not a single flicker. It's just a wonderful thing. I don't ever have a draft in these windows. So I grabbed 2 boxes, not sure which one. That's the 6-penny nail I'm holding, and I'm just going to decide now that it's just too big. I have a disadvantage in that I'm going to have to put putty later on, and probably stipple it with a little bit of stain, and try to make it convincing. Your eye will never be drawn to it. So I'm going to use a 4-penny nail. That'll be fine. The wood will expand around it, and it'll be nice and tight. So I'm just kind of tapping it a little bit, and now that I know that I've got the right placement, see, it still goes up and down. That's the important thing. Then I'm going to give myself a little more security and lift the window up. Now I know it's halfway in. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to shift position. And it's a very, very difficult angle to try and hammer something. And I'm probably cursing under my breath right now because anyway, that's why the volume is kind of down. But so that's it. That worked. Now I've got something. I've got 3 nail sets here. I'm gonna figure out which one I'm going to use. These are small nail heads, so I'm going to use the smallest, skinniest nail set that I have. And it's a lot more difficult to work with this kind because it can go off track. It can create another hole. If it goes off track, it'll create another hole in the window stop. Well, it's just another one less thing that you want to be blemished. So I'm hammering that thing down, and now what the idea is to sink it below the wood surface so that you can't see it, and that's where you're going to put your little putty and cover up the hole. Now, if this was all naked wood from the start, I would be able to put clear putty and then sand the whole thing again by hand, and then when you stain it, it's an almost flawless appearance. It's really hard to even find them. Really old houses that have never ever been touched, you can see that putty may have shrunk a little bit. But so I'm starting from the bottom. I'm going to work my way up to the top. The bottom is the most important part. That's what you want to work freely. If you're going to open a window at any given time, you're probably just going to throw it open for 6 or 12 inches, and it's going to see the most action. So you want to start with that and get that right. And then I'm going to work my way up instead of doing one at the top, because if you need to bend it or shift it, really, let's face it, there's no such thing as a 100% straight piece of wood. But so now I'm going to find a nice part in the dark grain and drill my little pilot hole. And I'm going to flick the switch to reverse when I pull it out. You don't want it to be going clockwise as you're pulling it out. You want to go easy with it. So I'm going to start tapping this guy in. And again, kind of an awkward angle, but that's a 1 pound hammer, 16 ounce, good old American size. None of this metric business. So that's about the perfect size for any serious project. A lot of that stuff, those little cheap kits you're going to find at Jewel, but it might be a little 8 or 10 ounce hammer. That ain't going to do it. You need that weight on there to throw at it. It's just when you get good practice with those. So yep, going to tap that, and I'm going to get it just about flush. And I'm going to grab that nail set again and be careful with it. Hold it in place. I got people walking by. I wonder what the hell this guy's doing on a Saturday morning. There's my nail set. You see how the top is sort of is flat now. It's sort of blunted. That's because over years and years and years, it'll actually start to curl itself downward. But anyway, that's good hard steel, much harder than the nails. It's by design. So now I've got that sunk below the surface. It's looking good. The action, look at that. It's going down by itself. I don't even have to touch it. Just start it off and it falls. I just locked it there and made sure it's all good and functioning. And I guess I could use a little bit of beeswax on the inside if I wanted to make it even smoother. It would probably prevent some of the stain from wearing too. Not that you would see it, but there, that's nice. That's a really good action. So now I'm just going to finish off with my pilot holes. And yeah, it's looking pretty good here. I'm still trying to get used to having this camera on my forehead. It looks like I probably could have tilted it downward just a touch, because I guess it always seems to be a little bit lower than where my eye level is, or too high. So I'm obviously doing something really important. You can't see it. There we go. It's still nice and smooth. So that's going to be real nice when it's done. I'm getting my position, knowing what's acceptable when it's raised all the way to the top, so I don't have any problems with being too tight. It's very, very, very easy to do. At least it was for me 4 years ago. But I'm gonna get that thing in. Don't go off track. Don't damage the wood. It's flush. the nail set. At least you can see in the reflection of the angel glass. So I figure one of these years, maybe next year, I'll just go on the outside and start to loosen, get all the upper sashes out. You know, maybe I'll do something really great, like change out the glazing in them. And you can see a lot of that paint that's been peeling on the outside storm. All my 4 storms for the center, the original wooden hinge storms, they're in the garage right now. So I want to strip those and recondition those. And you know, there's paint gunked up all over the hardware. I'll take the hardware off and treat it like a new piece of lumber. But, so I can look better than this, but not enough time. Not enough time left this season. Now I know that that's just about perfect. That's a good placement. So now I'm going to finally send this guy home. And that's the most important piece of the verticals. There's the top piece that's horizontal that goes. It's that really just sort of ties everything in visually. It's not really that functional. Get that nail set. Really, really tough with four penny nails. And those are called trim nails, by the way. Bright finish trim. I find that some of the generic brands you'll find at local stores, those nails tend to be kind of soft and they bend a lot easier. I think the Grip Right brand at like a Depot or something, I mean they're going to tend to be a little bit harder. You know, but you want that head to be real small. That's the point of a finishing nail, so that you can sink it down below the surface fairly easily without it doing a whole lot of damage. Now I'm going to do something a little bit more creative here. I'm going to pre-pilot drill all of the I did. You didn't really see it. I think I cut that out because the camera was too low or too high an angle, but I basically just pre-drilled 3 pilot holes, and I'm going to start the nails now. You know, just so when I get it up there, all I have to do is just keep on hammering. You just have to basically line the corners of this up with the left and right stops. And by the way, this I mitered at 45 degrees when I put this new oak in the stops themselves. In the old days, what they would have done is coped it, which is a skill I will never ever master it, and I'm never going to attempt it again. I don't know how anybody could have the aptitude to actually cope crown molding, especially, or this. It's hard to explain now, but look it up. coping saw. And instead of mitering it at 45 degrees, you're actually contouring, you know, the ends of the verticals to fit the shape of that piece on top. Now, obviously, I'm going to use a rubber mallet here because I need to. It's kind of hard to get that lined up. It's pretty tight in there, you know. When you cut this, I mean, you got to be really, really just. If it's a fraction of an inch too short, then you'll start seeing gaps, and so I really want to have that all real nice and tight. That's very difficult to hammer over your head because there's dust in there, there's plaster dust that's just dying to fall down, and all you have to do is hammer, and this fine dust goes right into your eyes. Oh yeah, by the way, use eye protection. That's what they say anyway. But, so this should be pretty close to finish here. Let's tap that up a little bit more, and I'm sure there's some good curses muttered here and there. I was not having it at this moment. Alright, so all I have to do now is test my window. Look at that. Beautiful action. And then when you tighten that lock, it gets nice and chilly out or something, or you know.